What if the New World was never new? What if centuries before Columbus ever set sail, North America was already colonized by Norse explorers, longships, and the children of Odin? What if the Vikings came to America and never left? In this timeline, Leif Erikson didn't just visit Vinland, he stayed. His people built, settled, and transformed the future of the entire Western Hemisphere. The landing that lasted. In the year 1000 AD, Norse explorer Leif Erikson sailed west from Greenland and made landfall in what we now call Newfoundland. In our timeline, he returned home, but in this one, he didn't. Instead, his group stayed through the winter, and when spring came, more followed. Over the next 20 years, hundreds of Norse settlers arrived. They built a permanent colony called Vestlandar, the Western Land. They farmed, hunted, traded with indigenous tribes, and most importantly, they adapted. The Norse Indigenous Alliance. The Vikings did not come as conquerors. Outnumbered and surrounded, they chose diplomacy. They traded iron tools for food, furs, and knowledge. They learned local languages and shared their own. By 1100 AD, Norse and native societies had begun to merge, forming new hybrid communities across the northeastern coasts of North America. The Norse brought shipbuilding, metalworking, and long-distance navigation. The indigenous peoples offered agricultural techniques, deep ecological wisdom, and vast continental knowledge. Expansion west and south. By 1200 AD, Norse settlers had spread beyond the coast, reaching deep into modern-day Canada and along the Appalachian corridor. They mapped river routes, built trade networks, and created fortified towns with longhouses and wooden palisades. Their influence extended southward, trading with the Mississippian culture, the Pueblo peoples, and as far as the Gulf Coast. A new culture was born, Skralingarfolk, a Norse native civilization fluent in multiple languages, with gods from both worlds. A different Europe. Back in Europe, tales of the rich lands across the sea reached the ears of kings and merchants. By the 1300s, Norse American colonies were fully integrated into the Norse world. Iceland and Greenland became strategic hubs. Trade flowed between Scandinavia and America. Iron, wood, furs, and exotic crops transformed the European economy. The Black Death still struck Europe in the 14th century, but Vestlandar remained untouched. It became a haven, a backup civilization, a new hope. The Viking Renaissance. With new wealth, Scandinavia flourished. Universities emerged in Oslo, Reykjavik, and Vinborg, the new capital of Vestlandar. Runic writing evolved into a hybrid script combining Norse and Algonquian phonetics. A new Norse calendar was created, based on lunar cycles and native timekeeping. Philosophy, astronomy, and medicine advanced. Norse explorers circumnavigated the Americas by 1450,000, 300 years before our Magellan. The Aztec encounter. By 1500, Norse explorers reached Mesoamerica, but instead of conquest, they sought alliance. A fragile, uneasy truce was formed between the Norse of the north and the Aztecs of the south. Trade boomed. Obsidian, maize, and gold flowed northward. Iron, armor, and steel flowed south. The wheel, previously unused in Mesoamerican culture, was introduced and quickly integrated into their technology and architecture. Europe's discovery of the New Norse world. In 1492, Columbus still sailed, but when he reached the Caribbean, he didn't find uncharted islands. He found Norse outposts, towns with stone docks and tall ships, and people who spoke a strange blend of Old Norse and native tongues. Spain's dreams of easy conquest were shattered. The Americas were not a blank canvas. They were already part of the global game, the three-way Cold War. By the 1600s, the world's superpowers were no longer just Europe and Asia. Three great blocs emerged: the Norse, American Confederation, the European empires, and the native empires of the South and West, newly modernized by centuries of exposure to Norse trade. Tensions rose, borders hardened, technology accelerated. But war remained cold because the balance of power was equal. The industrial forest. In the 1700s, North America became the birthplace of an ecological revolution. Instead of coal and steam, They developed wood pulse engines, water wheels, and wind harps, complex mechanical systems powered by nature. Their cities grew into living hull structures made of breathing timber and fungus composites. The forest wasn't cut down, it was shaped. By 1800, they had achieved what we now call eco-industrialization. The Great Integration. In 1850, a council was formed, the All Thing of the continents, where Norse, native, and European-descended leaders gathered to decide the fate of the Western Hemisphere. It wasn't perfect. There were still conflicts, still greed. But for the first time in history, the Americas were not shaped by colonization, but by collaboration. No genocide, no slave trade, no erasure of cultures. Instead, languages thrived. Belief systems blended, and progress didn't come from conquest but consensus. The world in 2025. Today, in this alternate 2025, the Western Hemisphere speaks over 40 official languages, but the most common is Norskra, a fusion of Old Norse and Algonquian dialects. Cities are built in spirals, not grids. Homes are living structures. Time is measured by the sun and the moon. There are no borders between Canada and the US, because neither exists. The continent is divided into federations, cultural, ecological, and historical. And global power is shared, not dominated. Because the Vikings didn't erase the world they found, they became part of it. What was gained and what was lost? We gained sustainability, peace, cultural complexity, a slower, wiser civilization that balanced strength with respect. But we lost the industrial speed, the global empires, the explosive expansion. We didn't reach the moon in 1969. We reached it in 2009. But we went as a planet, not a nation. The final thought. So what would you choose? A world of conquest, speed, and dominance? Or a world of roots, stories, and shared growth? In this timeline, the Vikings stayed in America, and they didn't take the land, they became part of it. And in doing so, they changed everything.